The movie opens up at night with a group of poachers sneaking into an animal reserve. Their plan is to capture some animals and sell them for money. Giselle, one of the poachers, has prepared a special sedative to immobilize the animals. The leader of the group, Toronto, then reminds everyone that their mission is all about making money and satisfying their investors. As they make their way, a meerkat spots them and starts making noise. Giselle, annoyed by the disturbance, uses her special sedative. Toronto takes a shot, attempting to tranquilize the meerkat. However, he mistakenly uses a gun filled with a zombie virus, not the intended sedative. Unbeknownst to them, the meerkat opens its eyes and transforms into a zombie as they leave. Timon's gonna feed good on Pumbaa. Next, the group splits into two, with Toronto leading one group containing boys, and Giselle taking Lane as her partner. While at the location, Toronto and his team hear a loud noise, and thinking it's an animal, they turn to shoot it. But, to their horror, they are attacked by the zombie meerkat,
Hakuna Matata,
resulting in the deaths of 2 members, while Toronto narrowly escapes. Meanwhile, one of the poachers is casually listening to music, an unwise choice when trying to capture wild animals. Suddenly, the zombie meerkat approaches him and bites off 3 of his fingers.
Grub.
This sends the poacher into a state of panic, making him run off in search of his leader. On the other hand, Giselle and Lane arrive at the place where a porcupine and its baby are staying. They succeed in capturing the baby, but as they are about to leave, the mother emerges from its burrow. Angry and threatened, Giselle uses a tranquilizer gun to incapacitate the mother porcupine. But at the same time, the Rangers, led by Officer Randy Hawk, arrive at the scene and apprehend the poachers. Randy instructs his officers to take Giselle and Lane into custody. He then checks on the injured porcupines and places them in a cage to transport them to an animal center. Randy questions Giselle about the tranquilizer she used, but she avoids giving a straight answer and simply laughs it off. The next morning, Officer Randy contacts Brooke, a staff member at the animal shelter, to inform her about the attempted theft at the zoo. He also mentions a strange toxin injected into a porcupine and asks Brooke to investigate it personally. Upon hearing this, Brooke tells her colleagues about the situation, and they quickly head to the zoo for further inspection. They also arm themselves with weapons just to be safe. Meanwhile, Toronto and the guy with the injured fingers are attacked by the zombie meerkat.
Where's Pumbaa, huh?
They attempt to escape over the wall, but just then, a zombie rhino charges at them, resulting in the injured guy's death. Despite the horrible sight, Toronto somehow manages to escape. Elsewhere, Randy and his team bring the porcupines to Brooke and inform her that the animals are displaying unusual behavior. Giselle and Lane, the captured poachers, are also brought to the animal center and confined to a room until further notice. Randy then reaches out to a rescue team for assistance, but is told they can only arrive in about 6 hours. He suggests to Brooke that she take care of the porcupines, while he looks after the poachers. He's trying to act brave, but he's really just afraid of porcupines. Afterward, Brooke administers 3 doses of tranquilizer to calm down the aggressive porcupine and worries about the cause of their violent behavior. While she and her assistant Logan are tending to the animals, the only remaining male poacher, Toronto, arrives in a state of panic. He desperately strikes at the window, seeking help. Randy and the other officers bring him in and question him about the situation. In reply, Toronto mentions that all the animals in the area have gone berserk and claims that his friends were killed by reanimated meerkats. The Rangers, skeptical of the story, suspect that he might be under the influence of drugs.
Was there a warthog too? You friggin' dumbass.
Nonetheless, they decide to take him to the meerkat enclosure, as they believe the other poachers may be found there. In the next scene, Brooke begins examining the blood samples from the porcupines, while Randy and his group head towards the location where Toronto claimed to have seen the zombie meerkats. Toronto keeps insisting that they should return to the lab facility for safety, but the group doesn't take him seriously and makes fun of him. To their shock, when they arrive at their destination, they discover the lifeless bodies of the poachers who had broken into the zoo the previous night. As Randy investigates one of the bodies, they hear unusual and angry noises nearby. Suddenly, a zombie aardvark attacks one of the Rangers.
Begin
beginning of the alphabet, baby.
Randy tries his best to shoot at the creature, but his efforts prove futile. By the time the group manages to kill the deadly aardvark, it has already inflicted a fatal wound on the ranger's chest, leading to his death. Meanwhile, back at the animal center, Brooke examines the porcupine's blood sample under a microscope and makes an astonishing discovery. The porcupine's cells are mutating at an alarming rate. Perplexed by this finding, she approaches Giselle and questions her about what she used to infect the porcupine. Elsewhere, Randy and the group decide to return to the research center and seek help. However, when they contact Brooke to inform her of the situation, she reminds them about the volunteers, KD and Ford. She mentions that the two are about to release a baby hippo into a nearby pond and requests Randy's assistance with that task. Upon hearing this, Randy tries to reach KD, but unfortunately, he is taken away from their Jeep and doesn't hear the audio alert. At the research lab, Logan is assigned to inject a syringe into the porcupines. However, when he looks into their cages, they appear to be broken, suggesting that the animals have escaped. Panicked, Logan carefully searches the lab and comes across a porcupine behaving aggressively. He attempts to approach it to administer the syringe, but the zombie porcupine hurls its sharp quills at him, deeply piercing his body. Hearing his screams, Brooke rushes to the room where she finds her colleagues struck in the head by a porcupine stinger. Tragically, Logan loses his life, leaving Brooke terrified. She then makes a desperate run for safety in another room. In a chilling turn of events, the two zombie porcupines slowly approach her from behind. Brooke seeks refuge under a table, trembling with fear. However, the porcupines soon discover her and launch an attack. While she manages to block some of the porcupine's stingers with an object, her hand gets injured in the process. To defend herself, she grabs a fork and uses it to electrocute the porcupine, causing it to self-destruct. After this, she extracts the stingers from her arm one by one. Later, more screams are heard. As it turns out, the baby porcupine is attacking Lane in another room. Giselle, who initially appeared brave, hides behind a cardboard box in a corner, crying for help. Fortunately, Brooke acts swiftly and covers the baby porcupine with a metal bucket before it can harm Giselle. Meanwhile, Katie and Ford are releasing the baby hippo from its cage when they hear a loud sound approaching them. To their horror, they notice a stampede of rhinos charging towards them. The two run for their lives, but it seems impossible to outrun the zombie rhinos. Thankfully, Randy and the others arrive in their Jeep and offer them a safe escape. As the relentless rhinos continue their pursuit of the humans, Ford unfortunately falls out of the car, what an idiot, and gets trampled. Fearing for his life, the police officer hands his gun to Toronto in the backseat to deal with the rhinos. Toronto begins shooting at the animals, but their escape options become limited, and a cliff looms ahead. Back at the animal center, Brooke tends to her wounds and contacts the police station for assistance. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Giselle offers to help find an antidote for the zombie virus that has infected the porcupines. After some thought, Brooke makes Giselle promise not to engage in wrongdoing again, and then agrees to collaborate. Giselle then kindly suggests that Brooke should get vaccinated, as she might have gotten infected by the virus. In the next scene, the two embark on researching a cure for the zombie virus. Giselle eventually makes a significant discovery that the virus in the animals can be neutralized with the assistance of human blood. Brooke is impressed by this breakthrough, and they proceed to manufacture a sample of the antidote. This must also mean that humans can be neutralized by animal blood, which means that Charlie Sheen is just fine. Meanwhile, the cops are still having a hard time trying to escape the zombie rhinos. Their Jeep crashes during the ordeal, compelling them to continue on foot toward the animal center. While crossing a river, they come across a massive python, but Randy successfully manages to scare it away. "Mine's bigger," he says, and it leaves. Back at the research facility, Giselle and Brooke are preparing to test the antidote on the zombie baby porcupine. However, before they can do so, the porcupine attacks them and escapes through the window. Now, they have to venture outside to find another zombie animal for experimentation. After some searching, they come across a crocodile by the river. While injecting it with the antidote, they must also fend off the crocodile's attack. attacks. Remarkably, the crocodile regains its senses and swims away, marking their experiment as a success. Elsewhere, following the python incident, Randy and his team decide to return to the animal center by using a boat and navigating the waterway. As they approach the shore, each in their individual kayaks, they confront a massive zombie hippopotamus in the water. This formidable creature targets them, tossing KD into the air and engulfing him as he falls. Seeing this, the other two paddle hard to reach the shore while being pursued by the hippo. Fortunately, Giselle arrives on the bank and uses the antidote to shoot the hippo. To their relief, the antidote provides temporary relief, granting them enough time to make their escape. Inside the animal center, Brooke is overjoyed to see Randy alive. She is about to share the news of her pregnancy when suddenly, a loud noise from the bathroom grabs their attention. Randy suggests they wait in the hall while he investigates. To his astonishment, a massive zombie crocodile has managed to break into the room through the sewer. It appears to be the same one from earlier. This proves that the antidote only offers temporary relief from the virus, not a permanent cure. Or perhaps their syringe just didn't pierce its scales. How did they do that anyway? Because of this, Giselle proposes that the antidote should be enhanced by mixing it with human blood containing antibodies, making it more potent. She is determined to return to the lab to work on this enhanced antidote. However, in a tragic accident, Giselle stumbles over the zombie crocodile's tail and gets bitten by the creature. Zombie or no zombie, that's gonna kill ya. Randy tries to fend off the crocodile with a fire extinguisher, but his efforts prove futile. Sadly, Giselle passes away, leaving Tirana heartbroken. Later in the afternoon, a rescue helicopter arrives, bringing a glimmer of hope. However, a grim turn of events unfolds when one of the rescuers disembarks from the helicopter without noticing a zombie lion approaching nearby. Panic ensues as everyone screams for the rescuer to flee, but he is unable to escape, and the lion fatally bites him in the neck, ending his life instantly. Simba wants Timon back. With no other option, the remaining survivors retreat to the animal center to seek refuge. Outside, an increasing number of zombie animals gather, surrounding the center. It appears that the animals are on the verge of breaching the final line of defense. Right then, Brooke takes out 3 antidotes prepared by Giselle and suggests they inject each one of them to enhance their chances of neutralizing the zombie virus when the animals bite them. As all this is happening, it suddenly dawns on Tirana that the situation is his fault because he was poaching animals. So, to redeem himself, he takes the antidotes from Brooke and injects himself with them. Tirana then decides to sacrifice himself for everyone's safety, especially Drake's. Even though others want him to stay inside, he uses a spray that attracts zombie animals to him. After this, Tirana rides a motorcycle out of the room with all of the zombies chasing after him. What a badass. Taking advantage of this distraction, Randy and Brooke manage to escape and fly away in a rescue helicopter. Unfortunately, a zombie meerkat also gets on board, and they have to fight it. After a tough battle, Brooke throws the meerkat into the helicopter's propeller, finally allowing them to escape. As they sail away, they notice that the animals are returning back to normalcy. This means that they have consumed Tirano, who is full of the antidote prepared by Giselle. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.